Well. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to Blue King Crab's gaming channel, right? Where we do hobby stuff and gaming and all that stuff. In the last video, you all saw me demold undo these here two silicone molds of these minis that I made. So now what we're going to do is we're going to pour into the molds to create a new casting of the actual mini itself, not just the mold. So to do that, I'm going to be using some resin, right? Some 2-part resin that takes equal parts B and A. All right, so I just poured some in a little bit of solo cups here, but then I'll use smaller cups to actually stir them up. Now I've done all this before, right? None of this is really new. Let me get I need a toothpick, or not toothpick, a popsicle stick. Also need some gloves, right? We'll put those on now. Gotta make sure your hands are safe in these kind of stuff. You don't want this stuff getting on your hands. It gets everywhere. So also when you're pouring molds, I don't know if I mentioned this before in my previous videos, but I'll mention it now. Whenever you're pouring molds, you always want backup molds, what we call dump molds, just in case you have a little bit of extra resin. You can just dump them in there. And don't worry if it doesn't completely fill this. You could keep pouring it on top. It's not a big deal. So just keep pouring it on and on and on, and eventually you'll get one. Now, for the demolding process, you can use just a little bit of baby powder, or you can use these mold releases. Now, the mold releases have a lot of directions. There's just, make sure you read it. But generally what it is you give it a light spritzing, you let it completely dry, and then maybe one more and let it completely dry, and then you can pour this. Today I'm not going to be using this. I'm just going to be using a little bit of baby powder that I put into a little bitty cup here, and I'm using a very soft bristled brush to put onto the brush, right? And then I just pop more of it off. And then what I do is I'm going to put some on the sides here because these are still a little tacky from yesterday. So we'll just put a little bit on here. I'll just paint it on. That gives it a little bit less tack. And then we don't want a whole lot in here, but we're just going to pour it in here like this. And make sure we get in all those crevices and creases. And then just kind of tap it out. We don't want a whole lot in there though, so we want to make sure we really get that out of there. So when you look inside of there, it almost looks like there's nothing in there. You see that? There's not like big piles or anything. It gave it just a small dusting. You could also put just a little bit on the top here. But that's what we're going to do for both of these. So let's get this one going here. And that's good. And again, we're just going to put some in here on the top. Make sure you get all the crevices and creases. And we'll just beat it out. And again, you should see no extra in there, and there isn't, so we know we did good. All right, so that's done. That was it. That was very easy, right? And we don't have to wait for it to dry. That's the best part. And now with these little cups, we just want to put equal parts A and B in. I'm going to start with the B, and then I'm just going to kind of eyeball it. But it's equal parts A and B. We shouldn't need very much here. There's not a lot going on. We got a little drop. There we go. And then we'll grab the A part. A part's a little bit more viscous. It's no rush at this point because there's no catalyst making them. I'm going to put a little bit more on this one. There's no catalyst yet, so you don't really have to worry about rushing it. It's when we pour the two mixtures together, that's when we have a little bit of a time to hurry up. So to do this, what I'll do is I'll pour the part A because it's more viscous in here, and then when we do it, we're not going to rapidly stir because I'm not going to do pressure casting. I'm just going to be pouring in there, and we'll see how good it comes out. But we need to do it slowly, but we need to make sure that it's completely mixed in. Otherwise, we won't get a good casting of it. So again, just make sure everything's ready. Oh, we didn't put, hold on. This is why it's good to do a double check, right? So we didn't put any powder in here, and we got to make sure we do that. So we just put a little bit of baby powder in there. And then beat it all out of there, and just make sure that it's all good. That looks fine. This is another miniature that I made, and we'll just kind of get all the baby powder in there on the sides here a bit, and then we'll beat it out of there. There. Okay, good thing we did the double check. That's why it's always good to double check before we actually start this process, because once we start, it's go time. You know what I mean? So we're gonna pour it this way, right? We're gonna pour it just 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, I think I'd rather have this thing over the base. So we'll pour it this, and then that if there's any left over, which I don't think there will be. This should just be this, and a little bit of that. All right, and again, we're pouring part A into part B, and then we'll start the spinning. Don't worry about getting 100% out of there. And then again, see how I'm stirring this? Not crazy, but I'm just trying to get it all in there. Spinning the cup also, you probably can hardly see it. They're very slight movements, but not crazy fast. We only have about a 2-minute pot life, so we definitely got to get going on this. We want to make sure that it's completely mixed before we move on. Go the other way. All right, that should be good enough. So with this, then we want to just pour it in there. Before you pour all the way in, give it a little bit of a tippy tap. Just trying to get all the bubbles out of there. And we'll pour a little bit more in there. Do the same thing. Just trying to get those bubbles out of there. We won't get all of them, obviously, because we won't get all of them out of there because we're not using a pressure cast, right? So again, about halfway. Just gonna give it a little bit of a jog back and forth here. Just trying to get all the bubbles, off the sides. And if you get a little bit on your cutting board, don't worry about it. It ain't going anywhere. And with this, I'm just going to kind of dump it. That's right. We just kind of put it all in there. These things usually aren't perfectly cast anyway, so the dump molds. That's why it's usually something that, maybe it's just something you want to test out, or you're trying something new. I'm going to take off our gloves now. And then the recommended wait time is 10 minutes. So I will see you back in 10 minutes. Catch you there. Okay, and we're back. A little piece that fell here. Get that out of there. All right, these feel done. This one, the dump mold, we're just going to keep onto the side. And we'll see how these turned out. Just like when we were demolding them last time, the original pieces, we're going to do the same thing here, right? We're going to slowly work around the sides, trying to get that vacuum removed. Just kind of working it, and then what we can do is kind of push through here. I hope these are done. Gave them about 10-15 minutes. Oh yeah, this looks good. That's real good. Oh, hold on, let me zoom in. No bubbles, which is great. Since I didn't use the pressure pot, I'm a little surprised there's no bubbles here. But this is really good. So when I designed these, I did try to keep in mind the addition of bubbles and stuff like that. So you know, I tried to make sure that all of the spots and stuff like that were kind of had enough room for air to get out, basically. Or they were so small, an air bubble would have to be quite tiny, and if it's that tiny, it probably wouldn't have mattered. So yeah, I would say first casting, that's a big success. Let's back up and let's try the next one. This is the big cube one, which is a little bit bigger. I'm a little bit more worried about this one getting air bubbles because there's a lot in this one. So let's see if we can. Oops. This one is also a lot bigger of a mass. So let's see. Come on. Come on. Try not to rip this thing, right? That's the biggest part. Yeah, this one looks pretty much perfect as well. Awesome. Yeah, that's great. I figured that we might have got a bubble. Let me see if I can get a little pointer here. I thought we might have got a little bitty of a bubble right here. This is where the worry area was for me, but I don't see any. And then all these little edges, right here. I wasn't too worried about the side panels. And you see that little spot right there is actually from the mold itself. That's from the figure. Actually, we can take a look at that. We can prove it. Yeah, see? So that little bubble there is right there. So it casts this thing exactly, which is great. So yeah, we're gonna cast these probably a couple times. Now since I see that I don't have to pressure cast them because my idea of making sure that when I built these there was enough room for bubbles to escape. Sorry. Yeah, this looks fantastic. So I'm gonna keep on making these. And maybe in the next video I'll show you the entire process of me designing one of these, casting it, and then pouring the resin. We'll do the whole thing, the whole video, just a 3-part in one basically. It'll be design, you know, print it obviously, cast it, and mold it, and then we'll see what we get. So yeah, I will talk to you all later. Peace out.